Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best, you gotta show me son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports.
We ready, we ready, we ready for y'all. Okay, we ready, we ready, we ready for y'all. Okay, yeah. Okay, ready. Okay, ready. All right, ready for y'all. Okay, we ready. Okay, ready. We ready for y'all. We ready, we ready, we ready for y'all. Okay. What's good, everyone? Shout out to the supporters on deck. Salute, man. You already know what it is. WCS back on the boulevard. The first in the building. Big blunts and boxes. Been waiting for it all day. Get the likes up, come back. What's the deal? Man, you already know what it is, man. You already know what it is, man. Somebody is gonna get their ass beat. Oh, somebody is gonna go running. Oh, somebody is gonna get these hands. Oh, somebody by the name of Spence. Somebody, man, you already know what it is. You already know what it is. This is if it's indeed the real deal. Holyfield, July 22nd. They talking about, They talking about what? Finally is here. Bud Crawford become 2-time undisputed. It ain't no other way around it, shawty. I was gonna talk about something else first. I'm gonna talk about this. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to talk about this because I know it's mayhem and chaos. I know news being announced on the weekend, them aerosexuals, they are up in arms right now. It ruined their whole weekend from this day forward all the way to July 22nd, bro. They not loving life right now. I get it. Hey, I know. Man, I know they don't get it, bro. You trying to tell me from now to July 22nd, y'all gonna be talking about debates? You're gonna be talking about debates, you're gonna talk about this ass whooping. Because look, y'all refuse to talk about Spence. Y'all refuse to talk about Spence when y'all supposed to. You know what I'm saying? But now you don't have no other choice. If indeed they're about to announce this fight for July 22nd, the gig is up. The gig is motherfucking up, shawty. We ready. The gig is up, man. The gig is up. The gig is up. It's done. Over. Let me get to those in the chat, man. Let me get to the ones in the chat. Because I want to hear these aerosexuals come on here and talk about something other than a debate. Nobody's talking about a goddamn debate. We're talking about what's about to take place, shawty. We ain't talking about no debate. We're talking about what's about to take place. This homicide. We're talking about what's about to go down in Vegas in July. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. We don't want to care about any other debates and what Crawford did and didn't do and how he pissed y'all off and he fought David Avanesian. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Nobody want to hear about that shit. Nah. It's time to step up to the plate. It's time, y'all. It's time. It's time for y'all to shut the fuck up and get ready for this fight. It's time for y'all to shut up talking about old shit and deal with what's right here, right now. That's what you need to talk about. That's what you need to focus on. I want to hear, I'm going to be tuned in. I'm going to be tuned in. Just like a hawk doing hunting season. I'm just going to be tuned in, paying attention, and I'm just going to be nitpicking at everything. What they got to talk about? What you guys say? What you say? No more of them stories. We don't want to hear no more stories. We don't want to hear nothing. If you're trying to tell me from now until July 22nd, so let me do something right quick. Let me do something for those of you that's tuned in. Let me do something right quick. let me help y'all out right quick. Because it's nothing like time, because we live, our entire life is based off time. Our entire life is based off time. You aerosexuals, are you listening to what I'm saying? You aerosexuals have a total of 85 days to find a psychologist. You understand me? You have a total of 85 calendar days in this year from April to July 22nd to figure it out. Let's see how the huddle is now. Get in the huddle and find out what the next play is. Okay? Make this man name, the most talked about on YouTube again. Go ahead. Go ahead, man. Sell the fight. I want to see what you aerosexuals going to do now. Sell the fight. What you got to say, man? You going to jump on YouTube and talk about old shit? No, talk about the actual fight. You know what I'm saying? Get with Boxing Gems, film study. Get with him and have him break down how this fight will play out. Because he definitely knows what he's talking about. Get with him. Period. Y'all get in y'all little huddle, get nice and warm and cozy, rub each other's back, because that's exactly where Spence is going to wind up come fight night, on his back. It ain't no talking no more. See, y'all was pump faking the whole time, right? Y'all knew the whole time y'all was trying not to make the fight. Y'all didn't want the fight announcement to happen. You wanted him to ride off in the sunset, never happen to face Terrence Crawford. That's what you wanted, aerosexuals. You want to keep on complaining about what WCS is saying. They're aerosexuals. But now you have to tighten up that skirt. You know what I'm saying? Put on a fresh pair of leggings. You know what I'm saying? Now you have to talk about what the reality is. The reality, if indeed July 22nd, I'm going to tell y'all straight up, y'all got problems. This is going to be the worst year that you ever had in your boxing life as content creators. This is going to be the first year. We already done seen what happened 22nd. See, Ron took a knee. Arrow's not going to take a knee. He's going to be taking a whole lot of other things, but a knee, he ain't going to take no knee. I'm telling you, he's not going to take a knee. This is going to ruin your lives, man. And the good thing about it, I'm going to sit back with my feet kicked up and I'm going to say, man, it's so peaceful around here. Aerosexuals, where are you at? Hello? Why don't I see all these thumbnails up? Is it a recession on the YTC? Somebody please let me know. Are we going to be in a recession? The aerosexuals just going to disappear and create their own platform? Is that what's going to happen? Let me get to the chat. Let me take a pause from the aerosexuals, please. Let me just take a pause from the aerosexuals because they, you know how quick tempered they are. You know what I'm saying? Toby on deck. What's good? James on deck. Salute. DeShawn Thompson. Let me ask you this, DeShawn, because I know you be over here without permission. Did you get permission? Did you get permission from those aerosexuals to be over here? Because they love screenshotting people. If you have a wrench on any one of those channels, you gotta be careful there, DeShawn. Be careful. You know what I'm saying? And be careful about using man down, because Arrow's already been on record as saying it ain't been man down in a minute. You know what I'm saying? That's out of his mouth. So tread lightly there, DeShawn. I don't want you to get in trouble over here, bro. We global, baby. We global. Yes, sir. Shout out to Toby on deck, man. Big salute. Big salute. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more salute to you, OG. How you feeling, man? How you feeling? The Outlaw Pugilist. What's good with it? Salute to you on deck. Listen. I'm going to talk about it just to talk about it because it feels good to get some news on this fight in 23. I can't keep ignoring. I can't keep ignoring. I got to sit up here and you know what I'm saying, antagonize. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be antagonistic a little bit, man. You know what I'm saying? We need something to pick up. We need some steam to pick up on this fight. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's all. This might be the real deal. You know, when it comes out on the YTC, right? Most of the time, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. But this was broke outside of the YTC. You know what I'm saying? This was broken outside of the YTC. The Bible Boxing at Ring Magazine sources Errol Spence Jr. Terrence, you know, Crawford would take place July 22nd in Las Vegas. As first reported. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna just go off. WCS is gonna, you know, pump up the volume, pump up the volume, dance. You know what I'm saying? I'm pumping up the volume a little bit because this matchup right here needs to happen. This needs to happen. And shout out to Blunts, man. Appreciate you dropping this. But I was in no place. I was out with moms, man. I ain't gonna lie, I was out with moms. I couldn't do nothing with it. But I appreciate you dropping the info to me. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you dropping the info. I couldn't do nothing with it. Who else on deck? Tony Boswell in the building, man. You already know. I be who I be. What is good, IB? IB, see, IB over here. I know what he's up to. I know what IB is up to. He's over here to try to goddamn, you know, catch somebody slipping. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to catch somebody slipping. That's the only reason he's over here. Sticking boys and fishing and sports. What's good? True Media Today, USA Boxing coach on deck. What's good with it, coach? Cam, what's good, brother? Salute to you being on deck. Oh, we have a stray. Hey, don't y'all time that stray out. Don't time that mutt. We're going to have some mutt straying over here now. Don't time them out now. Be nice to them. I don't want nobody timing the strays that's going to come over here, okay? Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Now, what I do want to mention is big shout out to Coach for the interview today, man. Extremely educational, man. Shout out to Dougie Fischer for pulling up on the boulevard. You know what I'm saying? Dropping in with Coach today, trying to help us understand how it all makes sense with the pound for pound. And it's pretty much like I figured, man, and a lot of other people figured. It's complicated. especially when it's just complicated. I'm not mad at anything he said, man, because that's just how boxing go. But shout out to Coach for asking all the right questions, man. And you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the ones who was tuned in, man. That shit was jumping on a Friday, bro. Dan on deck, what's good? He said after July 22nd, a whole lot of aerosexuals going to change their YouTube handles or go incognito. Hey, Dan, it's going to be incognito. Look, this is all I want to happen. The news, look, if this news is going to start spreading like wildfire, right? And it's in July, you know what I'm saying? It's after Independence Day. But prior to that fight anyway, it's going to be enough fireworks coming from over here anyway. Because them little aerosexuals, man, I'm just curious to know what they're going to talk about. Because the whole time they didn't believe this fight was going to happen. So they was up there running a smear campaign on Crawford. If this indeed, they sealed the deal, man, y'all better hope. I'm telling you, y'all, it's a lot of people that's going to be showing up in this chat that's going to be missing these voices that was talking all this about Crawford. No one wants to hear anything about last year. Don't nobody want to hear all that bullshit about resumes. Who fought who? Who gives a fuck who fought who? We're talking about who they fight now. Who is he about to fight? Who is he about to fight? We're talking about two-time undisputed in 2023. We're not talking about any of that other shit, you know, Crawford moving funny and all this other. Matter of fact, I need to ask one of y'all in here. I need to ask, Coach. I know you said on your channel that you already knew. I got a question for you, Coach. I got the question of all questions, man. I have to ask you the questions, bro. I have to ask you one single question, man. One single question. That's all I need an answer to. You might know it. Let me get the Captain Chaos, man, the wild dog in the building. Captain Chaos with a $10 super chat. No stealing. Break the mold. Let the world know that two black fighters can break the bank. Let's show that Shakur, Devin, and Tank can all fight each other without a Latino. Break barriers and break banks. Man, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. Break banks. Break banks. I got a question. And appreciate that. $10 super chat coming from Captain Chaos, man. Appreciate your support, brother. Big salute. I have a question, Coach. I have a question. Is Crawford signed to who? Yeah, I just worded it all discombobulated, you know what I'm saying? Who is Crawford signed to? If this is indeed, have you heard anything? Who is he signed to? Did he do this without signing the Golden Boy? I don't know. Maybe you know this, Coach. Anybody in the chat, can you please let WCS know if Crawford has signed to any promotion yet? Okay. I just want to know, has he signed to any promotion? Greg on deck. I see you. King Mitch on deck. What's it do, Mitch? What's good? Has Crawford signed to a promotion, Coach? I'm just curious, man. I heard, you know, I got the news and everything like that, but I want to know, is this man still a free agent? Did he sign the PBC? If he did sign, how many fights he signed for? Is it a rematch in that motherfucker? Maybe at a higher weight? That's what I want to know. You know, I'm happy that the news is broken on this fight. You know what I'm saying? For July, which puts people into the summertime, and they can leave them badass ruck racks at home and go out to Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Because people ain't gonna be able to afford to bring their kids up there to Vegas. You got to keep them at home. You know what I'm saying? Turn off the lights at 7:30 p.m. You got me. You're not gonna be running up the electricity bill. Turn off the lights. Everybody in bed at 7:30. Damn. Okay, Coach. Okay. I'm just trying to see, man, because I haven't heard nothing about who he signed to. If he signed the PBC, how did they make the fight? Any of that? You know, usually the ones on here are already breaking news. You know, and with all the logistics, I want to hear the logistics, man. If indeed, Crawford Spence is signed, y'all should expect a dramatic change over here on the YTC, man. I'm telling you. Because look, the bad thing about what they've done already is just run Crawford's name in the mud. But if the fight is indeed signed and it's about to be official in the upcoming weeks, what are they going to talk about that they ain't already talked about? Old shit. Nobody in their right mind want to hear about old stuff right now. We want to hear about what you think is going to happen come 22nd of July. Let's hear about projections of pay-per-views. Can it exceed that of Tank and Ryan? Can two black fighters sell out the house? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. They can sell out the house, but what is going to be the capacity? Where are they fighting at? What the pay-per-view price point is going to be? All of it. We need to know. Aerosections, you need to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? All this moving, funny. Nobody's listening to you, bro. They hear you, but no one's listening. No one's listening to what Crawford did wrong and all this other stuff. Man, this fight is indeed official. Man, I'm going to rub this 2-time undisputed. I'm going to rub that shit on y'all like poison ivy, goddammit. You know what I'm saying? Like poison ivy. I'm going to make sure you feel it. I'm going to make sure it itch. Real talk. Real talk. I'm going to make sure you get the point. For real. 2-time undisputed 2023 Terrence Bud Crawford. The news has broken. Sources: Errol Spence Jr. Terrence Crawford will take place July 22nd in Las Vegas, as first reported by. You know what I'm saying? That's good news, man. That's good news. You know what I'm saying? That's good news. Because if it's wrong, I got a whole lot of people. I got a whole lot of people to blame too. You know what I'm saying? I've heard it from multiple places. So I don't care. I'm not going off, if it's fake or not. You know what I'm saying? I think if the date is off a little bit, okay, fine. But if it's in July, we good. We good. We absolutely good. David, how is 10 million less than no guarantee? You have to understand the strays there, Cam. If you have any room right now, I don't know where you at, Cam. It's Friday. People in different places. But if you have a quiet area, Cam, I need for you to pray for these strays that's over here in my chat. They know damn well there's nothing healthy that they're going to get over here in my chat. I knew them aerosexuals come over here. All you hear is goddamn, how a little stray dog always, they hungry and shit and they whining. I knew they was going to bring their ass over here. And what I do? I feed them the best possible snacks that I can find. For real. I feed them the best possible snacks possible. I'm talking about old ground beef, green, yellow, shit bubbling up inside. I said, hey, come here. There you go. And they just eat that shit up like it's cool. Look, it don't take them 15 feet before they start. They start to sit up there and roll around on their back and shit and kick their legs up. It's like, what in the hell is wrong with them aerosexuals? A brother like me try to help y'all out by giving you some snacks. You're so ungrateful. But you got to be careful. You can't give. I learned not to give them snacks close to where I stay. I have to go across the street. I have to go up the street and give them snacks. Because once I give them that beef and they start shitting all over the place, it can get messy, man. You know what I'm saying? It can get very messy. So I have to make sure they far away from where I'm at right now when I give them treats. Right, aerosexuals? You know what I'm talking about. Man, they're going to get mad. They're going to get mad as always, taking it personal. I don't know, Tony. That's why I asked Coach, man. I asked Coach was, is he still signed? Because if he signed the PVC, I don't think they're going to put, it might be at the T-Mobile again, real talk, because PVC is having success. They just had success over there. So I don't think it's going to be in Allegiant Stadium, anything like that. It's definitely, I'd be damned if they say it's going to be at the MGM. This fight is bigger than that, man. Don't compact it into a small venue and jack up the ticket prices, man. Don't sabotage the fight. Put it in a place where you can put a nice little number out there with the tickets, with the seats, and just let it rip from there. It's gonna sell out. Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford is gonna sell out in a matter of hours. Mark my word. It's going to sell out in a matter of hours, man. And I truly believe that their price point for pay-per-view is going to be higher than what we just seen with $84. They have to come in with $90. Minimal of $90 pay-per-view, y'all. Minimal, for real. Andrew Charles on deck. I see you. Tank and Ryan bring a younger fan base that are willing to pay for fights. Bud and Spence are miserable people who complain about every pay-per-view. Hey, man, Andrew, talk your shit, dog. How dare you use miserable? How dare you disrupt their Friday, man? The aerosexuals are all huddled right now, man, in the basement. How dare you mess up their meeting? They're in the basement right as we speak. They're trying to come up with talking points. What we're going to push. Hey, it's going to be all bad for Bud. We already did that, though. We need to talk about Errol. Man, no, man, you're getting more views talking about Bud, man. It's going to even itself out, man. For real, it's going to even itself out. Just talk about Bud. Oh, they don't have a clue, man. I swear to God, man. You aerosexuals out there listen to this, man. What are y'all gonna do now? If this fight is official, you can't keep on talking about old stuff, man. You got to come with something that's rejuvenates the interest of the listener. You can't come with the same negativity. Just like Andrew said, you can't come with the same misery. We don't want to hear the misery no more. Y'all are so miserable when it comes to talking about Bud, man. You're so miserable. Let me use a $11 word. You're extremely cantankerous. You're just cantankerous individuals. No, we want to hear something that deals with both parties. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence. Let's talk about, based off what we know now about fights breaking the bank, come up with scenarios, man. Come up with scenarios that can pretty much solidify history. We have two big fights, you know what I'm saying, in 2023. How it can potentially solidify history. You know what I'm saying? Talk about what you want to see happen in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Talk about how you think the fight's going to play out, the predictions. Who's going to do what. You can go for your fighter. It's okay. I don't care about any of that. You can go for your fighter. But all I'm saying, just keep it realistic. We've already heard all the negativity of Bud. Let's come with something new. Now it's time for you to talk about Spence, goddammit. Now it's time for you to talk about Spence. It ain't no ignoring this. There's no debates about the same stale old ass, you gotta sign a contract. You gotta sign a contract. Sign a contract. We don't want to hear shit about no contract no more unless it's the one that we're currently speaking on that made this fight happen. I want to hear the logistics. They're aerosexuals, just like y'all did in 22. Find me the logistics. Who is he signed to? Crawford. What's the numbers? Don't let me start mentioning names now. How can coach say he knew about it? And I don't hear y'all coming out with the logistics. Where's the logistics? I want to know the breakdown. What is the percentage? Are they getting guaranteed money now that they know it can be done? Now that they know we have 1.4 million from Tank Garcia. Are y'all gonna come out and talk about, oh man, Bud just don't sell? He just doesn't sell. How are they gonna sell this fight? It shouldn't even be on pay-per-view. Nobody want to hear that bullshit. Shut that soft ass shit up, man. We want to hear some new stuff comparable to what we just seen go down in Vegas. We want to see that. That's all. We want to see and hear what you think this fight is going to do. We want somebody to get the logistics on the fine details of the contract. Is it still 65-35 or is it 50-50? You know what I'm saying? Is it guaranteed money? Because we didn't really hear nothing about no percentages with Garcia and Tank, but we do know they got paid. Both of them got paid. Y'all wasn't up here bickering and bitching and moaning and complaining and going through a menstrual mania about Davis and Garcia when it came down to what they was taking. Were they getting guaranteed money? What's the percentage? So don't bring your menstrual mania over here to the damn Crawford and Spence situation and talk about what somebody don't deserve. Because y'all cowards should look at yourselves and say, well, what did Ryan Garcia? Coach asked a good question today. He asked, well, what Ryan Garcia do to get on the pound for pound list? Okay. All right. So therefore, since we don't know what he did to get on the pound for pound list outside Luke Campbell, right? We got to understand that when it comes to Crawford Spence, what are they doing for you all to consider that Crawford don't deserve this and Crawford shouldn't get this and he should just take whatever they give him and all that? What did he do? What did he do to get there? What criteria did he meet for you all to say what he don't deserve? That's what I'm saying. Don't come bitching and moaning, man, about what somebody don't deserve, because y'all didn't do that to Ryan. You didn't do that shit for Ryan. So come over here with a decent attitude, review your notes, revise your bullet points, and come up with something different. What is the split this time? How much guarantee money they getting? I want to hear that fun news, because I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know, people. I don't know. Clarissa, what's good? Last I seen of Spence, he does not look in shape to be ready for July. Clarissa, I know you've heard me mention and make comments on the very situation that you just mentioned. And look, it took me a little bit of time to think about, comment on this when I read your post, right? About, whether I should do it now that the fight is, supposed to be official for July 22nd. And I said to myself, hell yeah, I'm supposed to talk about it, because it did look like he still had that nice round, yak belly. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like he has that yak belly on him. That's all. It seemed like he got that yak belly on him, man. He gonna have a fat camp. While Crawford in there is working on his skills, just tuning up, polishing. You know what I'm saying? He's up here polishing up what he's supposed to. Hold on, everybody blowing my phone up. Hold on for a second, people. But I said, Clarissa, hey, dude look a little chunky. I said it when I seen him at the Frank Martin fight, and people saying I was hating on him. And then somehow, some way, right? These new pictures come up when we saw him in the parking lot, and he accidentally went IG, on live. And that's around the time where Crawford, had posted a pic, with him looking like he's in the gym working out. ready to put this ass whooping on Spence. So I said it looked like he was trying to struggle. He was struggling to look over his pecs, his pectoralis. It looked a little overweight. You know what I'm saying? His face looked heavy. Everything about him looked heavy. And then somebody sent the picture of them sitting on the side of the ring. And I know Showtime, showed it again yesterday. And that picture of him sitting on the side of the ring didn't look like the picture we seen when he was walking on video. See, somebody is taking advantage of software, because he looked like I had to do a double take. I said, okay, all right, okay. It looked like he in shape. It looked like we got the Uga Spence. And then somehow, some way, when the camera's running, nobody wasn't able to edit Jamel's Charlo video on the fly. So as the camera lens gazed down and caught a glimpse, it seemed to be a bubble, a yak bubble. I don't know if it's true, but it seemed to be a yak bubble, which is considered to be, in proper terms, a gut. It seems like it was a little bit plump right down there. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't look good if the fight is going to be in July. And you just came out of Vegas with this, shawty. You just came out of Vegas. You need to get to work. You know what I'm saying? You need to get to work. You need to goddamn find out where the key at to world-class Alcatraz. And, man, you need to go in there and get that work in, man. Find out where Marvelous Jarvis is. He probably out there making a video, you know what I'm saying, doing a Michael Jackson Beat It video or something, and find him to get you to work. Find Blu-ray. Blu-ray, if you're listening, you need to be back on deck for this fight. He needs you more than ever. Blu-ray, you need to go back to the camp, man. Forget what DJ said. You need to have a one-on-one with Spence and say, hey, Spence, I'm the only one that can get you in shape. Where did Blu-ray go? Where is he? Blu-ray need to come back to the camp and get Spence right. You know why I say Blu-ray? Because when Spence was with Blu-ray, dude, nowhere, shape, or form looked like all these sightings that we see with him having a swole gut. You know what I'm saying? Like he out there, with all that livestock, he's just taking bites of raw meat. He's biting them motherfucking calf and livestock on the ass, just chewing them. You know what I'm saying? Letting that shit heal up on his own. What the fuck is going on, bro? We need Blu-ray back in the building. Blu-ray, come help this dude out. Please, Blu-ray. Because I don't want any excuses from these aerosexuals about Spence wasn't his true self. These aerosexuals are about to give us Ryan Garcia 2.0. I promise you. I'm promise you, these aerosexuals going to give you Ryan Garcia 2.0 with the excuses. They're not going to be able to stop it, bro. Go look at any of Buzz fights on YouTube. Pack house, everyone going nuts. Stop talking about talking. I'm not even reading his comments. Because that's not really someone that's new. That's somebody who wants to talk to me personally. You know what I'm saying? The coming Headstone Proprietors. You know what I'm saying? That's probably someone from the Headstone collection that has changed their name to come over here because, like I said, they're angry as a motherfucker right now. They thought they had talked about Bud so bad that Arrow just move on and go to 54 and vacate the titles or something. But now they have to deal with the clemency, y'all. They have to deal with the verdict. These aerosexuals have to deal with the verdict. They have to understand this fight is for real, for real. It's official now. It's no more play, man. You can say all the shit, the old shit, and the dummies that sit there in the chat and listen to the old shit. Okay, cool. But I'm telling you, all we want to hear now is what we need to see moving forward. How this fight gonna play out? Your predictions. Who's better than who? They don't have nothing new to say to Spence, man. He's been out the ring for a year. I told you at the year anniversary of April 16 in 2023, these motherfuckers was running around in the street, man, getting hit by vehicles, dog. They were so happy that it was the year anniversary of him picking up the WBA title to finally complete the trifecta of the IBF, the WBC, and the WBA. Knowing that there was one more out there, but they know, people listen to me, they know the reality of that one. They know it's going to be the toughest fight that Errol ever had in his life. They know that he's not ready for Bud. They know he's going to get that ass beat. They know this. They know it so much that they sit up here and ran a motherfucking smear campaign so people wouldn't even want to buy the fight, y'all. Penis Head, Mr. Circumcised Penis Head, made a video damn near every day on this black man. What is your videos going to be now? What are you going to say now, Mr. Penis Head? What are you going to say now, bro? What are you going to say now? Not a motherfucking thing, except making up some bullshit. We have to hold the YouTubers accountable that parade and promote that stealing shit. No. That's what they are. The Errol-sexuals know they're going to steal this fight too. They're not really there to support Errol. They're not going to pay $90. If PBC want to get on this gangster shit, man, it'll come up like $90+ for this pay-per-view. And you know what? People are going to buy it. It is the correct time. They use Tank and Garcia as a test run. That shit was hella successful. Believe me when I tell you, they're not coming out with a pay-per-view number that's lower than Tank and Garcia. They're not going to do it. They're not going to come out with a pay-per-view price point that's lower than $84. This pay-per-view is going to be at least minimum 90, bro. How you figure we will make more? You just guessing based of literally nothing to back that claim up. Hey, man, let that Errol-sexual talk, man. You know what I'm saying? Let him just run around here amok. Let him run amok, man. Because when he all done there, Andrew, I'm gonna invite him to the bow with some of them nice treats. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say, hey, you ever been on a sailboat before? Real? I'm gonna bring him onto the boat, man. Take him for a nice little ride so he can enjoy the sunset. I'm gonna say, hey, come here. I'm gonna take him to the bow, the head of the ship. I'm gonna say, look at that view out there. Look at it. It's pretty, huh? I'm gonna put my hand down there. I'm like, come on, go ahead. And I'm gonna throw that ground beef off the front of the bow. And the Errol-sexual gonna be like, and jump their ass right off there after it. And I'm gonna just slowly turn that wheel. I'm gonna turn and go the opposite. I'm gonna go in east. I'm gonna go east. And all I'm hearing in the rear is moaning and groaning. But I'm saying, damn, I gave you a treat. I didn't tell you to jump. I gave you a treat. You jumped off yourself. So don't be mad at me, Errol-sexuals. I don't know, Tony. That's a good question. Blunt say Spence was definitely in shape. I'll pay $120 for that pay-per-view. Blunts, how are you saying he was in shape and there's nothing to verify him being in shape, brother? You trying to tell me that was something else up under that? It looked like it was swollen, bro, from something. Here you go again, playing both sides of the fence. I swear. I can only think it'll be coming soon, brother. Spence said big news coming soon, and that was on April 23rd. He also said he wasn't going to apologize for inactivity. Hopefully, it all makes sense in a few weeks. So Spence put it out there. Like I've been saying about these fighters, if you have somebody else that's announced this fight, why haven't y'all made a tweet about it? Has any new tweets came out? Has any new tweets came out. Let me check, because I'm the one that put it out there all the time, that is puppetizing when it comes to information. You know, only the last one we got. Let me see. Let me double check. You either with me or against me. There's no in between, but nothing about the fight. You know what I'm saying? Nothing about the fight. So we're just gonna keep it positive. You know what I'm saying? That they'll come out sooner or later when the fight is officially announced by the promotion. You know what I'm saying? I hope they fight. I was going to Virgil versus Stanthionis, but they canceled it. So I have to save money up. No doubt. No doubt. I type in all caps because my name. Hey, man, don't show that dude no love, man. Anybody who type in all caps is a mad individual. They're miserable. They're mad. They actually believe putting their text in all caps gains the attention even more. Like, dude, you don't have to just write normal, dog. I don't care about the money. I care about it being signed and date of the fight venue. I get it, bro. But Tony, what have we heard this year? You talking about the fourth month in the first semester 23? We haven't really heard anything positive about Spence Crawford. We haven't really heard anything positive. But that's why I got to keep putting this up there like that. There, Tony. I got to let them know, dog. I got to let them know. I got to let them know. I have to let them know. Because one thing I know about the aerosexuals is that they get extremely upset, very impulsive, and they hold grudges all the time. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully they come by here and, you know, the strays that's over here, they look at that 2-time undisputed in 2023. I hope they get even madder. That's all. You're just guessing. That's based on nada. We do know that Bud made more. We still talking about money, Andrew, because listen, we just had 2 lightweights go in there and get paid. We still talking about money. That's what we're talking about, money. We're not talking about one of the biggest fights in boxing. We're talking about money. Man, look, I'm gonna tell you straight up. From what I think, shout out to Martin King. The negotiations that went on last year, man, they're none and void right now. They're irrelevant. It's no way in hell that we're talking about a 65-35 split. Not after Crawford went in there and knocked out David Avanesian. You know what I'm saying? They want to call the man avocado. But Crawford went over there and got paid. He put another win on his record and another KO right up underneath it. So negotiations aren't the same because the price yesterday isn't the price today. It isn't. Real talk. It is. Boxing Story, what's good? Stop it, man. It said, I can only imagine what he pays in car insurance. Man, hey, dog. You know, hey, somebody said this, talk about, hey, we just need to make sure Spence ain't driving. We need to definitely make sure. We need to definitely make sure, man. But about to prove why PBC been hesitant about making this fight. Yeah, proving that he's going to go in there and stop Errol Spence, period. He going to stop that boy, man. He going to stop that boy. So let me get a little bit into, and I'm going to come back to this. I want to play y'all some audio, right? And this is from True Media Today USA Boxing on the video that he did with Insider, you know, Ring Magazine, you know, the man himself, Dougie Fischer. Everybody knows him that's been in boxing for a while. I want to speak on some of the questions that was being asked and his answers for those questions. Okay. So therefore, if you are trying to get educated on certain things on how your favorite fighter isn't or is on the pound for pound list, Now, if you're speaking of the ring pound for pound list, you have a better understanding of why it is the way it is. You know what I'm saying? Simply that. So shout out to Coach, man.
All right, so your current list right now, you have Alexander Usyk, number 1, Inoue the Monster, number 2, Terrence Crawford, number 3, Errol Spence, number 4, Canelo Alvarez, number 5, Dimitri Bivol, number 6, Lomachenko, Vasily Lomachenko, number 7, Josh Taylor, you have him number 8, Tamir Tallo, number 9, you have Tank Davis, number 10. Why is the current the Devin Haney is undisputed champion, lightweight champion of the world? He's going to fight Vasily Lomachenko. So I guess you kind of already answered why he's not on the list based on who he fought. So
okay, let's hold up right there. Coach said you pretty much explained why he's not on the list because of who he fought. So they was trying to say that Kambosos, who beat Teofimo Lopez, who beat Vasily Lomachenko, wasn't enough. Hold up for a second now. Hold up. Because I always say this about Teofimo Lopez. He beat the man. Teofimo beat the man. He beat Richard Comey. You know what I'm saying? He beat Richard Comey for the belt. All right. As you would hear on here, he's talking about contenders. Teo was a contender when he fought Masayoshi Nakatani in a title eliminator. He went in there and beat both of them to get to Vasily Lomachenko. Lomachenko was on the pound for pound list. So it's no question as to why Teofimo Lopez is on the pound for pound list. No question whatsoever. No question. We're talking about the current reigning defending lightweight, undisputed champion that has no resident on the pound for pound list when it comes to the ring. So him trying to explain why he isn't on there and coach asking him, you listen for yourself and please put it in the chat what you think about it.
You can change that.
Yeah, I have more. Yeah.
If you beat somebody who's actually in the pound for pound,
okay,
you'll get it. Which is, by the way, I didn't understand why Devin and Bill were going after Lomachenko's resume or saying he was overrated for all these.
Deflection. Dougie, I don't have no problem with you, big dog. Deflection. We don't want to hear why Bill was going at at Lomachenko and saying he was overrated. I've been saying Lomachenko was overrated for years. So what if Bill them said his resume was overrated? We don't care. That wasn't what we was trying to get to the point. We wasn't driving that question to have you talk about a contentious point between you and the Haneys. No, we want to hear why, how. You know what I'm saying? How is it possible that a guy who beat the man who beat the man twice in his backyard, if we're talking about achievements, accomplishments, you know what I'm saying, accolades, that's pretty commendable to go over across the water and beat Kambosos once and then defend those titles with a low salary.
I'm just like, do you not want him in the pound for pound? Are you not going to eventually fight this guy? Don't you want him in there? So when you beat him, you take his place? Whatever.
Okay, so if Haney beats Lomachenko, more than likely the panel, they will more than likely vote him to be in the top 10.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Coach just said, okay, if he beats Lomachenko, who shouldn't be on the pound for pound list anyway, let's be honest, it's BS. He shouldn't be on the pound for pound list. And I said this when Teo beat him. Why is Lomachenko still on the pound for pound list? Why? Why is he still on the pound for pound list, bro? He was defeated. Why? Okay. Not only did you keep him on the pound for pound list, but Lomachenko was like second. So you move him from second all the way out of the top 5, slide Teo in front of him, but yet keep Loma next to Teo. Why? Because you thought Teo was going to maintain the belts when he fought Kambosos, his mandatory, and you all was going to revisit that fight for the very same reasons that you put Lomachenko back on the pound for pound list for Devin Haney, because you want to make him work a little bit harder. You want to make Devin Haney work a little bit harder. You know what I'm saying? To have a spot on the pound for pound list. Because when he picked up the titles, Kambosos, was he on the pound for pound list? Was Kambosos on the pound for pound list, y'all? Because last time I checked, Teofimo Lopez was on the pound for pound list when he had the titles. Right? 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 Wasn't Kambosos on the pound for pound list? What was Kambosos on the pound for pound list? So if Kambosos was on the pound for pound list, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. It was Kambosos on the pound for pound list who beat Tio. He beat Tio, right? They didn't have a rematch. Who did Kambosos fight in between Teofimo Lopez? Who did Kambosos fight in between his win over Tio and his next fight? Who did Kambosos fight? Who did he defend his titles against? Can we come up with an answer? So therefore, if he did not fight anybody and he beat Tio, who I'm guessing was on the pound for pound list at that time, now coming full circle, Devin Haney beats Kambosos, who should have been on the pound for pound list, bro. Can somebody please fact check that for me, please? Because a lot of the time I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But it's a domino effect here that in the lightweight division, these guys was on the pound for pound list. Yes, WCS is just activating, you know what I'm saying, activating some common knowledge here. These lightweight fighters from Lomachenko to Teofimo Lopez to Kambosos to Devin Haney. If Devin Haney beat Kambosos in the first fight and Kambosos was on the ring pound for pound list from beating Teofimo Lopez, why isn't Devin Haney on the list? Okay, let me keep on with the audio.
So how did if it's based on who you fought and who you beat, how did Gervonta Davis get in the pound for pound top 10?
Gervonta has been a top-rated contender over 3 weight classes: 130 pounds, 135 pounds, and 140 pounds. That's pretty rare. Now, he wasn't winning legitimate world titles in those 3 weight classes.
What do you mean by the legitimate world titles? He wasn't winning a legitimate world title.
He wasn't winning like the first title he won at junior lightweight, 130 pounds, against a really good fighter, Jose Pedraza, who went on to win a world title at lightweight and was even a solid contender at 140 pounds. His first world title.
Once again, I'm being respectful. And I'm not, no way, no how. This has nothing to do with the interview itself. No, this is strictly the information that none of us have awareness about because we're not privy to it from the outside looking in. All right. But Coach asked a absolutely educated question based off what we just witnessed, man. Okay, if you're saying this Tank is on the pound for pound list, the question was presented. I'm curious to how, and a lot of other people, how Tank making on the pound for pound list. It's a good question. It's a grand question, man. He's talking about Jose Pedraza. He's talking about a fighter that he fought and ended up losing the belt on the scales, okay? Then he goes on to say that Tank fought for a WBA title, and it wasn't a legitimate title at the time. But he's going way back as to what Tank accomplishments was, and those same accomplishments never got Tank on the pound for pound list. It never got him anywhere close to the pound for pound list. But all of a sudden, you fight a lower tier fighter with nothing of these accolades that you're mentioning. He doesn't even come close. Ryan Garcia don't even come close. It's like Tank knocked out a guy who's a social media guy that had boxing skills. We get it. But when it comes down to what got him on the list, I don't think Dougie Fischer had the answers. Because to be honest with you, all he had to do is say, it's who we deem necessary to be on the pound for pound list. Pretty much. It's whoever we deemed necessary based off favoritism.
That counts. That was the IBF belt. And the IBF doesn't split its belts or whatever. But he lost that belt on the scale. And then basically the WBA just kind of handed him a WBA title. but it was a regular title. You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
But then
so
I think you get into
Coach say, okay, so oh my God. Coach say, okay, so what do you mean? Well, I don't get it. What are you talking about? Dude. Oh my God. Y'all are talking to grown people, man. You know what I'm saying? In the process, you're talking to Coach who did his research, man. He's asking you the hard motherfucking questions. I swear to God, Thor ain't got shit on the hammer that was that landed on Dougie Fischer's forehead, bro. This man is talking about what Tank did at 130 that has absolutely nothing to do with him getting in the pound for pound, because Tank has went up to 35, okay, to fight Gamboa. Then he already went up to 40 to fight Mario Barrios. He got nothing close to the pound for pound list. You know what I'm saying? Nothing on the pound for pound list. Nothing. Nowhere close. And then you have these little fights that come on board. You have the Isak Cruz. You have the Rolly Romero. Then it gets interesting. Then you have the Ryan Garcia. But he didn't know. He couldn't tell us, bro.
sanctioning body madness here, because I think
So
it was initially a regular title, and then they turned it into like the real title. Regardless, the titles that he won at lightweight, and these have been WBA belts. The titles that he won at lightweight and at junior welterweight, they weren't like the real world title. They were the secondary belt.
So you're pretty much informing us that he won secondary titles, he being Gervonta Davis, but you're not giving us the criteria for which gave him the golden ticket to be on the pound for pound list. That was kind of the initial question. Like, how did he get on the pound for pound list? It is a respectable question. Like, what is your criteria? You don't have any criteria. Don't just talk about what titles he have, but yet the criteria that you've given us is almost like why he shouldn't be on the pound for pound list or whatever, based off what Dougie was saying. Dougie was pretty much saying he was winning secondary titles and this, that, and the other, and they wasn't real titles. Well, we asked you, the question was proposed, like, what did he do to get on the pound for pound list?
Okay, WBA has something called the Super Championship belt, which is, the real world title. And then they just have their regular WBA world title, which is
the Reggie belt.
What they call the Reggie belt, or we call them a secondary title. The ring doesn't recognize secondary titles. However, listen, he went up to 140 pounds and he beat Mario Barrios. Is Mario Barrios the world beater? No, he's not. But he was a legit contender at 140 pounds. Right?
So now we go from they don't recognize secondary titles to Mario Barrios, who he won a secondary title from, as being a legit contender. And Dougie, I don't have no issues with you. This is just content. I'm just doing my reaction to the interview today. That's it. I don't dislike you, man. I don't have no reason to dislike you. But I do believe you was BSing us today. A lot of answers that you was giving us in certain areas of this pound for pound list, which is very relevant based off what we just witnessed April 22nd. The point that is being broken down and questions asked isn't just based off Tank Davis win over Garcia, but it's based off Devin Haney, who is the undisputed champion, and his absence from the pound for pound list. That's what we was trying to figure out. We was trying to figure out the whole ordeal. You know what I'm saying? You had clear, concise response when you talked about that ring title and everything else, and he can send it back in the mail. Okay, we got it. But as far as trying to educate us on the criteria that it takes for a fighter to be on the ring pound for pound list, what does it take? And you're talking about Mario Barrios, who had a secondary title, who Tank beat, he stopped him. You don't recognize secondary titles, but you say he was a legit contender. That legit contender, Dougie, had a secondary title. So if he had a secondary title, doesn't that diminish the value that you're giving him to be on the, for Tank to beat him, to prove your point on why you put him on the pound for pound list?
I think he was like number 5 or number 6 in the Ring Magazine ranking. So to jump from junior lightweight, where we ranked him, all the way to 140 pounds, and to beat a top contender in that weight class, that's what pound for pound fighters do. Now in between beating Pedraza and Mario Barrios, there are some solid wins. I mean, he's never looked terrible, and I don't listen. Rolly Romero was not in our rankings, but Isaac Cruz was in our rankings as a lightweight. You know what I mean? Listen, Leo Santa Cruz, he started at bantamweight or whatever. But Santa Cruz, I mean, dude, was he a 4-division world title holder, a 3-division world title holder, whatever? Seasoned veteran, and he wiped him out. You know what I mean? Santa Cruz is a name. Now, how much credit do you give him for beating a guy who was naturally at a lighter weight? I don't know. The fight took place at 130. In my opinion, Santa Cruz's ceiling was 126 pounds, and he wasn't really an offensive threat above 122 pounds. It's still, that's a name. That's a big.
Oh, wow. Dougie say that Leo Santa Cruz is a name. And he basically went all the way back in reflection to say, yeah, he was a bantamweight. He was a featherweight. And he was basically identifying that Leo Santa Cruz fought at a lighter weight, right? Right? So it puzzles me, just to skip a little bit, that every time the debate come up with Crawford and when he fought Gamboa, they always say that Gamboa was a featherweight, and they always use it to demean the accomplishments. But Dougie is pretty much saying that, yeah, Leo Santa Cruz fought at this weight right here, but he still had the credentials when Tank fought him. He's a 3-4 weight world champion. That's what he said. So he's giving them credit for beating Leo Santa Cruz at that smaller weight. You know what I'm saying? That's after he was down there having his belt stripped for losing it on the scale. He returned back to a division where the adversity began with his weight situation. I'm not talking about him missing weight with Gamboa. I'm talking about him missing weight to the point where his belt was stripped. When he was fighting Yorkis Gamboa, it was for the what? Vacant WBA title. The Reggie, the vacant.
So he's been moved strategically, but he's looked. See, the eye test is a big part of the pound for pound for some of the panelists. Not so much me, but for other panelists.
Bingo. There it is. And that's exactly what my thumbnail represents. The eye test. Bingo. That is the one point that you need to be concerned about, that you need to understand, that you need to just further educate yourself, that deals with someone's perception. Because if I look at something and I gain my assessment, coach look at something, the same thing I looked at, he gained his assessment. Somebody else looks at it and they have their assessment. I guarantee we're not going to have the same assessment, especially when we are attempting to describe our assessment. It's going to come out to be different. So when he's talking about not him per se, but other members of the panels of the eye test, what is the eye test? Eye test has a lot of what? Influence. And what is influence? Influence can be controlled by what? Biasness. Bias can be what? Good or bad. So if we know it's just for the eye test, it's all about who you like. It's all about who you approve. It's not really too much of what have you done for me lately? You know why it's not? Because with the way Dougie Fischer was breaking this down, it pretty much didn't go off what Tank has done for him lately or the ring lately. Because you can't prove he did something besides break the bank on the pay-per-view and fight a guy who never been on pay-per-view. So it was, what have you done for me back in the day? Just like WCS says, the accomplishments never wither. They carry forward in their boxing career from the vision to the vision to the vision. Dougie just proved it. He went all the way back to Tank fighting Jose Pedraza and the names that he fought back then, them being contenders, him moving up from 30 to 35 to 40. He considered Mario Barrios to be a contender and not a champion who had a real belt, so to speak. He said they don't recognize those type of belts, but yet and still they recognize Barrios as being a top contender. Isaac Cruz didn't have a belt, but he recognized him as being in the rankings enough for Tank Davis to get credit for going the distance and beating this guy. He didn't have a belt. He didn't have a belt. Ryan Garcia didn't have a belt, but he was a contender.
The way he gets rid of these guys, even if he struggles in the early rounds, the way he zaps guys when the time comes, it's breathtaking, and that resonates with people. So I would say Tank might have an edge on somebody like Devin Haney just because he's dynamic. Okay. He's one of these explosive boxer punches.
Bingo. The eye test. The eye test tells me that Tank Davis is explosive. The eye test tells me Tank Davis is entertaining. The eye test tells me that he's a prize fighter and he bring people to the seats. He bring people to the arenas. That's what the eye test tell me. That's what the eye test tell me. So what did Dougie say? It's dynamic, because he's basically saying when people come to see Tank Davis fight, they know it's going to be a climactic moment. But he was insinuating if you go see Devin Haney fight, it's not going to be a climactic moment. You're just going to get boxing. He's going to win on the scorecards. He's going to win on points. That's Dougie. That's what my perception, interpretation of what he was saying. That's not me.
Okay, so Ryan Garcia, what did you guys rank Ryan Garcia? Because what I noticed about this list, and let me know if I'm wrong, this is a new list that you put out, right? Prior to putting out the new list, was Gervonta Davis on the list?
On the pound for pound?
Right, on Ring.
No, on the donut list, Dougie. We're talking about the pound for pound.
Pound for pound. Prior to this new list coming out, he wasn't on the list. So
no, he just got in.
If he just got in, what did he do, or who did he beat to just get in? Like, why is he on the list now? What I'm trying to say.
He defeated his second lightweight contender.
Bingo. Man, give it up for Coach, man. Coach could never say that WCS didn't tell him that he on his shit early on. Superb order of questioning. When you level and layer your questions up, now you get to the point of the last moment. The last moment that we can reflect upon. April 22nd. We're already on Friday. Y'all, we're talking about this fight like it just happened yesterday. It happened Saturday. We're already on Friday, bro. He asked something that is fresh in our minds right now. Y'all need to hear it again? I need to hear it again.
Okay. The first lightweight is supposed to lose.
In the ring, right?
But he's a top lightweight facing another top lightweight, and he pretty much handled it because he's dynamic. Okay. He's one of these explosive boxing punches.
Okay, so Ryan Garcia, what did you guys rank Ryan Garcia? Because what I noticed about this list, and let me know if I'm wrong, this is a new list that you put out, right? Prior to putting out the new list, was Gervonta Davis on the list?
On the pound for pound?
Right, on Ring Magazine's pound for pound. Prior to this new list coming out, he wasn't on the list. So
No, he just got in.
If he just got in, what did he do or who did he beat to just get in? Like, why is he on the list now? What I'm trying to say.
He defeated his second lightweight contender.
Okay.
The first lightweight contender he beat was Isaac Cruz. And in between there, he had, Rolly Romero, not a contender recognized by ring, but a dangerous guy.
Okay.
And then Ryan Garcia. He and Ryan Garcia were number 2 and number 3 in our lightweight rank.
Okay. According in the ring, right?
According to the ring. Yeah. He's a top lightweight facing another top lightweight, and he pretty much handled it. I mean, do you think he struggled that much?
So this is my deal, right? And shout out to Coach, man. Superb. Check this out. So he said they was 2 and 3. Okay, they was 2 and 3 in the lightweight. So if Gervonta and Ryan was 2 and 3, where was Devin and Lomachenko? Hey, Coach. He said Tank and Ryan was 2 and 3, right? We have 2 contenders that's about to step in the ring. Devin Haney, Vasil Lomachenko. Which one of them was 1 and which one of them was number 4? Which one of them was 1 and which one of them was 4? Because if you say Devin Haney with the belts was number 4 and Lomachenko was number 1, how is that even possible? How is that even possible? You can't bring him to number 1 in the rankings there, Dougie, if he just came off beating Richard Comey and Masayoshi Nakatani, the leftovers, common opponents of Teofimo Lopez. He was only fighting them because he thought he was going to get back in the ring with them. So that means you put Devin at number 4 and Lomachenko at number 1. And Lomachenko is at number 1. How? Something's entirely strange here. Because therefore, Lomachenko is in front of Gervonta, who's done extremely more than Lomachenko has done recently, especially on pay-per-view. So I would think if you were switching up and put Gervonta number 1, Devin Haney number 2, or something to that nature, whatever, based off your criteria that you're speaking on, or whatever. But you say they was 2 and 3. They was 2 and 3. So who was number 1 and who was number 4? Devin Haney and Lomachenko. Because if Devin can have that many belts and you place him number 4 and he goes in there and beat Lomachenko, how is your criteria going to give him the golden ticket to be on the pound for pound list when Lomachenko himself has not met anything of what you're talking about? Just because Lomachenko is now facing Devin Haney, he's a contender. Okay, so if Lomachenko is a contender for Devin Haney's title, Devin Haney can't be number 4 behind Gervonta and Ryan Garcia, Dougie.
Nah, he made it look easy.
He made it look easy. Now, maybe that speaks more about Ryan. Maybe it speaks more about Ryan than it does Gervonta, okay? Time will tell. If Ryan Garcia comes back and struggles against a mid-level opponent or gets beat by somebody, gets upset by somebody he's not supposed to lose to, that takes luster off that win. But if Ryan gets back.
So what you're saying is, if Ryan Garcia goes out here and gets another knockout from a Gardner, that means, we're in spring right now. I was checking out the foliage today, man. It's some shit that's blossoming out there, looking real good. The bees are happy. So you're saying if the tomatoes are ripe and the gardeners are out picking those tomatoes, and Ryan goes out here and goes on a knockout spree of some tomatoes, that's even going to build up Tank's reasoning as to why he's on the pound for pound list based off Ryan Garcia, who right now, in your opinion there, Dougie, you're trying to say, well, he's going to build up his Wall Street if he continue to win. Because pretty much Coach put it out there like, hey, what did he did? What did Ryan do? You know what I'm saying? What did Ryan do? What has he done that was so special? And he's a contender. Okay, so a contender is pretty much a guy who can be in the position to face the man, but yet his resume is tomatoes. You know what I'm saying? Thick ragu tomatoes, right? But yet his position is that he is a contender. Not to mention how many points that should have been deducted from Ryan Garcia that Dougie didn't mention when he was the WBC interim title holder and then faced Devin Haney. Shouldn't you have deducted points from Ryan Garcia? Not even that. He pulled out a supposedly call out of Gervonta after that. And he pulled out and ducked that. Shouldn't he get deducted some points from anything you got going on with him being a contender? And then he said he was going to get a fight with Manny Pacquiao. That didn't happen. And then he come back full circle. He fight Emmanuel Tagoe, then look impressive and fight Javier Fortuna. Both Gardners. I don't get what the criteria of this contendership is. You know what I'm saying? Because pretty much it all boils down to the influence of the eye test. The eye test is influenced by biasness. So in one breath, you want to say that it's based off your perception of your people, whatever, on who they believe should be on the pound for pound list based off what they see, based off what they visual tells them. That's who should be on the pound. And then, but when it comes to the Tank being on the pound for pound, you want to try to make it like it's a SOP, like you digging in the chapters and you going through the index. Well, if it's not the titles, because we don't what was his words? We don't permit secondary titles. So you don't permit secondary titles, but yet you're permitting progress off fighters who had secondary fighters to basically progress the main name that we're talking about, Gervonta Davis, onto the pound for pound list. So the only reason that fighter fought Gervonta Davis because they had that secondary title. So in reality, your contradiction is you don't accept secondary titles, but yet it does enhance the Wall Street value of that fighter when he stepped in there with Gervonta to get on the pound for pound list. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a contender. No, he was a champion. He was a champion. So it's contradicting to say that you don't accept secondary titles, but when actuality you do. You do accept them. You accept secondary titles, bro. Because you was early in the show, you was talking about how titles help out a fighter. It helped them negotiate higher purses and stuff like that. So if by chance that fighter has a secondary title, aren't they going to be able to negotiate their purse? Yes, they're going to be able to negotiate their purse, right? Because they're a champion. They're going to be able to negotiate higher, get paid more money for being a WBA regular champion. So the fact that you say they're irrelevant, but yet it boosts up the contendership for this name to step in there with Tank Davis and fight, and Tank defeats them, and it's almost like his boxing fight code goes up because he fought Mario Barrios, who was a contender, who had a WBA regular title.
Rank at 140 pounds and get back to knocking people out, it looks pretty good. You had a young, undefeated lightweight in Davis taking on another young, undefeated, well-rated lightweight in Ryan Garcia.
So who did Ryan Garcia fight in order to become a well-rated lightweight? Because he's never won a title before.
He got in there. He got in there after he beat Luke Campbell.
Hey, good questions, Coach. Good order. Very, very solid order of questioning. Very solid order of questioning. But I must put this out there to the jury. Because, you know, we done heard this Crawford Spence debate and they don't give him credit for anything he did back then. But this is a guy who's on the top level and with Ring Magazine and well respected out there and everything. He basically mentioned a fight that was back in January of 2021. Luke Campbell. Dougie Fischer was giving Ryan Garcia credit for fighting and defeating Luke Campbell in January 2021 for the WBC interim lightweight title. He gave him credit for a fight that took place in January 2021, just off the pandemic. He's giving him credit for fighting and Luke Campbell, a contender, back in January 2021. That was, look, check this out. After Ryan Garcia fought Luke Campbell, he fought Emmanuel Targot in April 2022. Then he fought Javier Fortuna July 2022 and pulled out of a supposedly fight that he was going to have January 2023 because of whatever reasons. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reasons. But the crazy part about it, he gets credit for Luke Campbell back in January 2021. We got it.
He beat Luke Campbell, and
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how we got it. You guys.
Campbell, I think Campbell was solid. He was a two-time world title challenger who almost beat Jorge Linares. Ran him very close in a world title challenge.
Okay.
Fell short there. Came back and fought Vasily Lomachenko, who was on top of his game at the time, and gave him fifth. Gave him a tough fight. Lost soundly. That fight was in England, but he won rounds. He didn't embarrass himself in there. So, he had worked his way up the rankings, and he remained in the rankings, even though he'd fallen short in two world title tries.
Okay, let me pause it right there for a second. Check this out. So just accredited Luke Campbell for fighting Vasily Lomachenko. Luke Campbell fought Vasily Lomachenko August of 2019. In 2019, Luke Campbell had two fights. He had one in March and one in August. He fought Adrian Young, who was 26-5 and 2 in March of 2019. Then in August 2019, he fought Vasily Lomachenko. Check this out. They say numbers don't lie, right? Check this out. August 31st, 2019, Luke Campbell steps in there with Ryan Garcia. January 2021. His last fight, Vasily Lomachenko, was August 31st, 2019. He steps in there with Ryan Garcia February 2021. Quite a lengthy time off, right? And truth be told, that was Luke Campbell's last fight. So what Dougie's talking about, giving Ryan Garcia credit for fighting Luke Campbell, who fought Vasily Lomachenko back in August 2019, and Ryan Garcia, fought him after a long layoff. I mean, a pretty extensive layoff, man. You know what I'm saying? To say the least, about like a year and a half or whatever. And then he talks about if Ryan Garcia continues to knock out Gardners, that will further bolster Gervonta Davis's reason for being on the pound for pound list. But what does it do for Ryan Garcia when Luke Campbell, who's Dougie is bragging on right now for facing Vasily Lomachenko back in 2019 and faring very well? What does it do for Ryan Garcia boxing Wall Street if Luke Campbell never had another fight after Ryan Garcia beat him and stopped him in the 7th round? Come on, man. What does it do for Ryan Garcia, who we're trying to figure out? With Coach asked a damn good question. What did he do? So we need to go back and Dougie Fischer's metric, the metric that he's using. We need to go back and I like his metric too. It just ain't making no sense. I like it because it basically says, give credit to the fighters who fought these fighters. That's the way it's supposed to be in boxing. give credit to these fighters who fought these fighters. That makes sense. But the method for which he's going about, Ryan Garcia, in order for him to get any type of higher FICO earning with Gervonta Davis, Dougie Fischer mentioned he fought Luke Campbell, who fought Vasil Lomachenko. Well, when he fought Ryan Garcia, when Luke Campbell got off that loss to Vasil Lomachenko and went in there and fought Ryan Garcia, he ain't fought since.
And Garcia beat him. Garcia got dropped, but Garcia got up. And Garcia finished him with a body shot, just like Tank finished Garcia with a body shot. Garcia did that to a seasoned fighter in Luke Campbell.
Okay.
He was also an Olympic gold medalist, by the way.
No shit, he was an Olympic gold medalist. But look, when it comes to debating Spence and Crawford, and you know, we're talking about they don't even respect or acknowledge the metric for which Dougie Fischer is going off of, which I respect the metric because he's accrediting fighters for what they truly did. Even though boxing will always have gardeners, we got it. There's always be tomatoes everywhere. But at least he's acknowledging the fighters that fought the fighters as if they wasn't nothing. He's forced into a corner with this question because he has to come out with something that he didn't think. He wasn't provided time to go and do research on these questions. This is something that he has to think about immediately and come up and derive an answer live. That's why the information that you're hearing from him don't make any sense, because look, he said Luke Campbell was a gold medalist, right? We know that because Vasil Lomachenko was a two-time gold standard. And you said that he had a damn good fight with Lomachenko. I agree. Lomachenko knocked him down in the 11th and he got back up. But his fight with Ryan Garcia, he hasn't fought since, bro. He hasn't fought since. So how does that even strengthen any argument of Ryan Garcia to boost up, you know, Gervonta Davis' opponent, to boost up him going into the freaking pound for pound, coming off of Manuel Targot and Javier Fortuna? How? You're just going to go all the way back? If this is the new metric that Dougie Fischer want us to go by, cool. I like it for a debate. I like it because we can go and accredit fighters like Ricky Burns. We can go way back. You know what I'm saying? And accredit certain fighters, you know, in these debates, man.
Campbell's a solid guy. He was a solid boxer. I don't know how popular he was among American fans, but very well respected on the other side of the pond.
The reason why I asked that question was because if Tank Davis wasn't in the top 10 before the updated rankings, I wanted to know how high did you guys rank Ryan Garcia? Because a lot of
people, Davis has been right on the outside. Davis's name has come up, just like Devin Haney's name, just like Shakur Stevenson's name, just like Pam Rodriguez's name has come up.
What does being on the outside, just on the outside, means? Because look, Tank has been fighting solid name opponents for quite some time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's easy to give him credit for Pedraza because that was a fight worthwhile. That was a fight worthwhile, man. Then when he fought for the freaking WBA, that was a fight. When he fought Leo Santa Cruz, when he fought for a title, his first fight at 135, it had a purpose to it. It wasn't just a freebie. When he fought Mario Barrios, it wasn't just a freebie. It was something that was involved. Okay, so we want to go to Dougie Fischer's point of contenders. Okay. Isaac Cruz, he was a contender. Forget the size, forget everything else. He was a contender. He was ranked because he was contender. Okay, cool. Then Rolly gets very minimal credit. But Rolly was a former WBA, the same. Look, he was a former WBA interim champion, right? When he fought Jackson Marinez, but Dougie just skipped over Rolly, which could potentially build up Tank. You know what I'm saying? That can build up Tank argument to be on the pound for pound because Rolly was a WBA interim titleist. The fight that went down in Connecticut, yes. So if we're talking on the metric of Dougie, okay, we got to include Rolly Romero in that. And then once again, the same metric can be used for Ryan Garcia if we're going off Dougie's metric. Ryan Garcia was a WBC interim titleist, a contender, right? So pretty much the zip it up, what he should have said is like, okay, Isaac Cruz, all the way up to Ryan Garcia, you know what I'm saying? Contenders. That's why we had them this, and this. But yet, when coach asked the dynamic question, where was Tank at prior to this? He was just on the outside. How far on the outside, though? How far? We need to know how far, though. How far was he on the outside? Is there any documents we can pull up? You know, any freaking rankings that we can pull up with the ring to know how far Tank Davis was outside? How far? What was the distance?
Like, there's a lot of young guys, a lot of new blood. Who else am I thinking of? Amy, Davis, Rodriguez, Shakur Stevenson, Stephen Fulton. That's the other guy.
Yeah, Steph.
There's been a bunch of guys that are right outside of the top 10. Right, and whenever.
So let's not just walk over Stephen Fulton, CBS, so quickly, because per Dougie Fischer's point, Dougie was up there making mention about contenders. So shit. We got to bring in freaking Cool Boy Steph on who he fought that was contenders. Most recently, we got to talk about him speaking why he ain't on the pound for pound list. Why isn't he on the pound for pound list? You want to talk about exciting? Cool Boy Steph is exciting to watch as a boxer. Real talk. He's exciting to watch. I'm not going to get into it, though.
If anything happens, if there's some movement, somebody doesn't look good, you know, who's pound for pound ranked, like when Josh Taylor barely beat Jack Catterall. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. Mm-hmm. He definitely didn't look good. There was a lot of talk. Get him out of there. He's not pound for pound anymore. And Davis's name was one of those names that replace him with Tank Davis. Other people said no. It got split. You know what happens is it gets split. Because there's so many of these young guys. It's like, no, it should be Stephen Fulton. No, it should be Shakur Stevenson. No. But we didn't drop him. We just dropped him in the rankings. Because we still felt that, okay, look, he got the W against Catterall. Catterall's he's a tricky style. Nobody's going to look good against Jack Catterall, okay? But even if he was, struggling with Jack Catterall, that wasn't enough to erase victories over both Regis Prograis and Jose Ramirez. Both guys who are number one rated.
Oh, the tournament.
Junior welterweight at the time. Yeah, all that. Like, it wasn't like one bad performance doesn't erase everything that you ever did. And most folks, when it comes to pound for pound ranking,
I do like that. I do like that Dougie said one bad performance doesn't erase everything you did. I appreciate that. That right there makes sense. It should resonate across, the boxing fanatics. It should resonate. It should be more respected that in his eyes, one performance doesn't. But we all know that ain't true. Because if you are at the highest tier and you have a bad performance, yeah, those same people that put you on the pound for pound list, they're looking at you like, well, we was expecting you to show out and you didn't show out. You didn't give us the value. You didn't give us the performance value we was looking for. We might have made an impulsive decision. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of how you put it. It's very much touch and go. Sometimes, if we got you here, you need to continue to perform for us to keep you here. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I look at it. But it's good that he said one performance shouldn't discredit a fighter entirely.
They take into account everything you did, all your body of work. So, for instance, Tank Davis, he had to kind of slowly creep up in the lightweight rankings because he was splitting his time fighting at 130 pounds, and then he jumped up to fight 140 pounds, and then he dropped back down to 135 pounds. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, where do we rank this guy? You know?
Okay, so Dougie just said like Tank was splitting his time fighting at 35, which he only had one fight at that time. Dipped back down to fight Leo Santa Cruz, I believe, right? So he's like, Tank Davis was splitting his time from 35, 30, and then the 40, and then the 35. So where do we rank this guy? You know what I'm saying? Where do we rank this guy? But that's the very same reason as to why you putting him on the pound for pound list, because you said, hey, let's be honest. Let's be honest. The guy's entertaining. He's dynamic. Why is he dynamic, Dougie? Because of, you know, what he's been able to do fighting contenders at 30, 35, and 40. Okay.
Well, when you look at the whole body of work, it's like, wait a minute, this guy is fighting world-class guys at junior lightweight, and junior welterweight. That's pretty impressive. That goes into like a pound-for-pound ranking kind of thing.
So the reason why I asked you earlier, what type of influences do promoters, managers, advisors have on the Ring magazine? It's very, very important. The reason I asked you that question, because some people may feel that the reason why certain fighters are in that position because you guys may be getting paid under the table. Mauricio Simon may be asking you guys for some kind of favors, and people looking at you guys as pound for pound list, Doug, and they're like, well, how did this guy get in there and that guy didn't get in, and yada 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 yada. So that's why I asked that question. This is what the fans want to know.
Listen, we're the most transparent ratings panel out there. You're going to know all our names. You're going to know how each member of the panel voted. You're going to get their reasoning. All you got to do, you can Google it, Ring Ratings Update, and put a date by it, you know, the most recent Saturday, and you get it, you know. Yeah, we spell it out to you. Having said that, when you're talking about pound for pound, it's not an exact science.
Yeah.
I got one member of the panel, the esteemed senior editor, Brian Hardy, who says pound for pound is all about the eye test.
Eye test, okay.
You need to look like you're unbeatable. You need to look like prime Roy Jones Jr.
What did you just say? Coach? He said you need to look like you're unbeatable. Isn't that how every fighter looked during the fighter's introduction? When they walk to the ring, look, when they walk to the ring and they have an O in their record, right? They're unbeaten. They haven't been beaten yet. They have not faced defeat yet. So they're going into the ring looking like they're unbeatable, because, you know, no one can read the minds of these fighters when they're going through the fighter's introduction and they're waiting for the opening bell to sound. Everybody looks unbeatable. It was some people up here looking at Dane Ryan Garcia doing the fighter's intro, and they were saying to themselves, he has a chance. How much money you bet on it? 35,000. He has a chance. Look at Ryan. He looks confident. Look at him. Look at him. He looks confident. He's going to get it done. It was people out there saying he's going to get it done. And then you go over there to Tank, and Tank gives off this energy that, you know, something is languishing. His hands haven't begun to talk yet. You know what I'm saying? So there's no conversations. It's just nonverbal cues going on between both fighters. And then we're waiting for the opening bell so we can start letting those physical conversations begin. That's when the perception of a fighter looking unbeatable goes out the window, because it turns into actual performance. So a fighter looks unbeatable when they walk into the ring and they finally split the ropes, and the announcer is, you know, telling the millions, those in attendance and the millions watching who these fighters are. So if they have an O on their record, yeah, they're looking unbeatable because they have never been defeated before. But if you have a fighter up there with a 1 on his record already, they've not undefeated, they're not looking so much as unbeatable. They're trying to go into the fight to what? To pick up a victory and not face defeat once again. I don't know if they're looking like they're unbeatable once they take a L, but they look in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. I can't tell you, but that's the only way that the Ryan Garcia and Gervonta looked unbeatable when they did the ring walk and got into the ring. You know what I'm saying? It was the unexpected.
You're fighting. You need to look like you're untouchable.
No matter who you're fighting, so you can so I can fight 25 tomato cans, but if I run through the tomato cans, somebody on the pedal will say, "Well, man, Coach Malachi, he pound for pound, he got to go on the list." So what about?
We're not gonna just let that just slip on by. We're not gonna do that. Coach says, "So I can fight 25." You know what we're missing out on the YTC? It's just like the combat lead that was on there. We need to get some of these damn content creators professional record, at least 5 to 10-0, so they can go in here and boost up their viewership and brag on how they're an undefeated fighter. Coach just said, "So I can fight 25 tomatoes, long as I look good doing them." And Dougie said, "Exactly." You know what? I can stop this whole live right here. It's no reason for me to go any further. It is very destructive, man. It just exploded. For real, it just exploded. Coach said I can fight 25 tomato cans as long as I look good doing it. And that should give me exactly. So if that is indeed the case, contenders are out the window. Because contenders aren't all, tomato cans aren't contenders like that. They're tomatoes for a reason. It's a reason why they consider that type of fruit. It is. It's a reason why they consider that, man. The contender's supposed to be a higher level than the tomatoes. But you're trying to tell me I need to go out here and get my license and work up to 25-0? So possibly, potentially, I can get on the rankings of the ring based off. Let me see. I'd be a 60 something. Let's see. It'll be incredible though. I'll be in my 60s. I'll take a little time off. Okay, man, I'm gonna have to think about that, Coach. You know what I'm saying? Dougie said exactly. I faced 25 tomato cans and look good doing it. That's all I got. Exactly. God damn.
Who you fight matters though.
Right. I'm the opposite. Now Brian never boxed. Okay. Brian knows the sport from following it for a long time and all that. And he's been around the gym, but Brian's never actually trained in boxing. As me, I'm somebody trained in boxing. I'm somebody.
I have to fast forward, y'all.
By the way, and Coach, not only that, the people on the panel, they don't get paid.
So the people on the panel don't get paid. So there's no way that they can be influenced. No way.
Cap. Cappy on. He's capping. Cappy on. A good question though. So Coach said no one on the panel get paid. Nope, no one on the panel. But then he dresses it up. They can't be influenced. They can't be bought. Nothing. Everybody can be bought. That's what they say. And he proposed a question earlier about, people believing that, the question was proposed, do they accept under the table money and all this other stuff? We already know what boxing is. We already know how the ranking system works. It's all about who you connected to. And you know what? It's all about the money on getting you up that ranking systems. It's all about the money. So I call cap on that, Dougie, for real. I know you're politically taking a stance because this is a live stream, but everybody and anybody knows that that's cap.
Influence in a way, form, or fashion.
If you go to ESPN.com, right, and you go to their divisional rankings, they'll tell you those rankings in all 17 weight classes, that's compiled by 3 guys, like Mike Coppinger and 2 other guys, right? I think they're all American, and they're all ESPN employees. You feel me? Mm-hmm. Now, and then when you look at some of the rank, and I'm not saying necessarily that they're pushing fighters that are signed to Top Rank or that are fighting on ESPN.com. Okay, I'm not saying that, but I am saying if you look at like the divisions where there's an ESPN fighter and there's another guy who's not an ESPN fighter who's equal to or maybe a little bit better than, more often than not, the ESPN fighter is ranked ahead of him, right? So like with Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like they're pretty people. If you look at their resume and what they do, they're different types of fighters or whatever. But it seems like Beterbiev is going to get the benefit of the doubt. And when you look at the pound for pound, Ring Magazine, we had Gervonta Davis crack the Ring rankings. That could have happened with ESPN, but they couldn't do that. They couldn't let Tank Davis in the pound for pound without pushing out Shakur Stevenson, right? Who fights on what network? They couldn't do that. They couldn't let Gervonta in without pushing out maybe or pushing down a Devin Haney. They don't want that, do they? Devin Haney fight, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there's like that.
Okay, so pretty much this is the push, the push-pull effect or whatever. So he's saying, okay, Devin Haney was at the back door of the pound for pound. I mean, in order to put Devin Haney on there, no, hold up. In order to put Shakur Stevenson on there, and Devin was at the back end, they couldn't slide Shakur Stevenson because the ejection doesn't happen at the top. The ejection happens at the bottom. Yes, the ejection happens at the bottom. So they're saying they would have had to remove, someone would have had to be subtracted at the bottom. And if Devin was at the back end, in order to put Shakur up there, they would have had to remove Devin, because Shakur Stevenson is a 2-weight world champion, former undisputed 130. So that's viable reason for people to speak on it like, that's not necessarily true, because you have to look at it like some of these number 8 fighters is on the pound for pound list, the number 7 fighters. At one point in time, I thought that every fighter needed a belt to be on the pound for pound list, but that ended up not being the truth. It's depending on who they like, the eye test. Lomachenko is a perfect example of that. You know what I'm saying? Gennady Golovkin is a perfect example of that. I don't know how long they had one Francisco Estrada on the pound for pound list. They had that man up there on the pound for pound list forever and a day. And when it came time for him to face Sor Rungvisai, in defense of his title, what happened? They elevated that man based off a fight with Chocolatito that they felt that he didn't look his best. They pretty much elevated that man, the franchise title holder, and Sor Rungvisai was supposed to come back and fight Carlos Cudras. I mean, we're talking about, come on, how much entitlement is that? But that didn't take any points away from Juan Estrada for elevating to the franchise champion.
With the pound for pound, I think they have a I don't know why. For the pound for pound rankings, they have a bigger panel. I don't know how many people it is. It's more than just 3 guys, but it's still primarily ESPN employees, whether it's ESPN, the network, or ESPN radio, or ESPN.com. You know what I mean?
If he wasn't on the list before, and if you didn't think, so I wanted to know how high did the panel rank Ryan Garcia in order to justify putting Tank Davis on Ring Magazine's pound for pound list, but a guy who's holding your belt right now, undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Devin Haney, how could you justify putting Tank on the list because he beat Ryan Garcia? You answered the question. You answered the question, but I was just trying to figure out why. What was the thought process?
it comes down to the eye test for that dynamic, the charisma factor. I think Tank has that over Devin Haney. Doesn't mean he's a better fighter than Devin Haney. Doesn't even mean he's a more accomplished fighter. He's a more popular fighter by far. When he fights, people take notice. Mm-hmm. I will say this: when Anson Wainwright kicked it off, when he went through the fights of the past weekend, he didn't mention Davis in a pound-for-pound sense. He just went through the different divisions. And another panelist brought it up. This is a panelist. He's based in England. His name is Tris Dixon. And he brought it up. He's just like, hey, what about Tank Davis in the pound-for-pound? You know, he's been outside. He's been in that 11 to 15 range. Does he get in? And part of the reason he brought it up, and a few others brought it up, is there are members of the panel who think that some of the fighters that are currently ranked in the pound-for-pound have been in there too long. You know, there's folks that think that Lomachenko shouldn't be in there. There's folks who think that Josh Taylor shouldn't be in there.
Why is Loma there?
There's folks who think that Jamel Charlo shouldn't be in there.
Damn, I wish you would have fired that round again. I'm telling you, Coach was on fire, man. He said, why wasn't Loma? Why was Loma there? God damn it. And Dougie just, man, he kept on, hey, he had selective hearing on that. Why was Loma there? I would have loved to hear. I would have loved to hear it because I know what was spoken on early in the live. I know, I heard it. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty much like, hey, you know what? We don't want to put Devin on there, even though he has all the belts. But, you know, people want to think, hey, you know, if he's on the pound-for-pound list, how did he get there? Well, guess what? Let WCS break it down for you, Dougie. If you're trying to say that Devin has to fight Loma, who's already on the pound-for-pound list, to take someone's slot, then what the fuck is Loma doing on there? How can Devin get credit? It's a slap in the face, brother. Bro, it's a slap in the face that you're trying to say that, hey, don't read too much into it. But if you want to know, Devin beats Loma, he gets on the pound-for-pound, then he beats somebody on the pound-for-pound list. But why was he on the pound-for-pound list to begin with, though? Great question proposed by Coach. Why Loma there? They can't tell you why Loma is there. All they're trying to do is put Band-Aids. They're trying to basically make it a slap in the face. Because if WCS is processing it, it's plenty of other people that's processing it like this too. You're trying to say that it'll look better for Devin with the titles to beat Lomachenko, who's on the pound-for-pound list? No. Why is he on there coming off Richard Comey and Nakatani? This is the hocus pocus of boxing, man. This is a perfect example of when the magic show goes entirely bad on live television. You know what I'm saying? When David Copperfield was freaking doing that magic trick and the person got hurt. This is the perfect example. Why is Loma on the pound-for-pound list again? I couldn't quite understand why he was on there when he had lost his titles to T.O. It seemed like everybody else on there had a title. But it's certain people that get to hang out on the pound-for-pound list with no titles, no big wins. I don't know. And then speaking about credit value of previous opponents. Yeah, I said it. I like it because it does provide value to the opponents that they face, you know, their opponents and the fighters that they're faced. But let's be real. If Lomachenko, if we're talking about that in a sense, we're just going to ignore the fact and act like we're blind about Nakatani. We're just going to act like we're blind. We're going to act like we're blind that Richard Comey went the distance with Lomachenko, but yet Teofimo knocked him out in 2 rounds. We're just going to be blind of that. If we're talking about, previous opponents that they fought, we just blind to that. Okay.
Because he's been inactive. You know what I mean? So they're like, let's get some new players. Some folks who think that Juan Francisco Estrada shouldn't be in there because they don't think he beat Chocolatito. in the rematch or the rubber match. You know what I mean? And that didn't come from me, even though I do believe that. But
no, they don't think he should be on there because he elevated himself to franchise champion because boxing wanted to make money, so he can go back there and fight Roman Gonzalez in a trilogy and screw over Sor Rungvisai, who ended up being knocked out by Bam Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying? Who was originally supposed to fight Carlos Kudras, but caught COVID. And then Bam came in there, broke up the party, defended his title for the first time against Sor Rungvisai, and stopped the man.
They want new blood. They want new blood. And like I said, there's these guys. There's Haney. There's Davis. There's Shakur Stevenson. There's Stephen Fulton. They're all floating around just outside of the top 10. But Davis has a way. His events attract your attention. And he has a way of winning his fights that are dramatic.
Okay.
And
so that's one of the factors.
And I think that, because you can make a case for any of these guys. You really can. You know what I mean? But Davis has the division hopping, and he's got that style and that certain, I don't know, he's got a certain it. He's got the it.
So Dougie is saying that Davis has basically the it factor without saying it. I don't know why you just don't say it. He has the it factor. Just like Deontay Wilder has the it factor because he has the right hand and people want to see people go to sleep. Deontay Wilder and Gervonta Davis pretty much have similar it factors. They have the equalizer. Gervonta, in a sense, at this point in time, him being small as he is and packing dynamite, people are more inclined to go see him because he can box his ass off. He can box. But to say these fighters are hanging outside, like we don't know what outside mean. Like you asked me, did I ever see some people hanging outside the liquor store? I'd say, yeah, sure. Because when I drove by, I saw them hanging out. But I can't see these boxers hanging out outside the rankings. I can't see. We have no visual, bro. You base everything off visual, but the information that you're giving us, we don't have a visual for. That's your visual. You're on the inside. You are privy to the information. We, the content creators, the boxing heads, the fanatics, the casuals, we're on the outside, and we're basically, like you said earlier there, Dougie, look it up on Google. Y'all transparent. Okay. We can't look up all the information. It's not like y'all give us copious notes that we can go to this one site and look up and see what y'all was talking about. It's not like we can go look up audio. Y'all have sound bites. So to say they're hanging out for what? I don't get it, bro. I mean, hanging out for what though? And it gets even, Coach mentioned, he clarified that the word dynamic, you know what I'm saying? They have to be dynamic. Dynamic is such a broad stamp, bro. You know what I'm saying? People can say Isaac Cruz is dynamic. The way his defense was so sealed. You know what I'm saying? He barely allowed Tank to get a clean shot. He's dynamic. You know what I'm saying? He's dynamic. Ryan Garcia was dynamic before he went in there and got stopped because he had the IG followers. He had all the damn speed drills, the body punch challenge. He was dynamic. Tank was dynamic because a lot of his dynamic performances came with inside the ropes. And people talked about it all the time. So that dynamic word can be used all the time. Crawford is dynamic. He has all stoppages at the welterweight division. He's a 3-weight world champion. He continues to win. He continues to get the stoppages. He's dynamic. It's a lot of that can be said about fighters that's dynamic.
He got that it factor. He does.
I don't know if he's the face of boxing yet, but he's on his way, right? So if you don't self-destruct outside of the ring. So I think that puts him over. I really do. I think, listen, if Haney looks great on May 20th, if he dominates, or even if he doesn't dominate, but just wins clearly against Vasily Lomachenko, I think he gets in and Hank gets pushed out.
But check this out, though. Once again, Dougie, no disrespect, brother. But what you're doing is the clouds are too thick right now. You basically caught yourself and say, if he goes in there and dominate, no, he don't need to dominate. If he just goes in there and get a clear win, well, what the hell he's been doing? He's been going in there getting clear wins. He didn't win by split decisions when he was over in Australia twice. He didn't win not one of those fights by split decision. No, that's not going to get him any further progress because that's exactly what he's been doing. He clearly been going in there winning. But you spoke your truth. The first statements you made, you want him to go in there and dominate a fighter. Well, he did dominate freaking Kambosos, but you just didn't want to see him dominate him with a jab. You wanted to see something that seems like it's not a part of his repertoire, and that is something that's consistent with Tank Davis' power. You're comparing a fighter in the same division to one another, but yet you're implying that Tank Davis, he has the power. He's a dynamic fighter, but when it comes to Devin, he can box and he's dynamic at boxing. But even though he's dominating his opponent, he's not giving us the it factor like Tank. That's what you should have said. You should have said that. You should just kept it 1,000. Your first comment was what was truly on your heart. You want Devin to go in there and dominate his opponent and get stoppages. You want him to go back to the way it was when he was climbing the ladder. You want him to finish. But yet he's boxing. So if you're talking about boxing, he's clearly outboxing his opponents. You know that to be true. But check out this last piece now. It's about to get to the end. Check out this last piece and tell me what you think about it, because I don't know, man.
I mean, he said, well, if Devin Haney beats Lomachenko and Lomachenko is currently ranked number 6 or 7 in your guys' pound for pound, he has to get in your top 10 because one, he has your belt, and then 2, consider Lomachenko is ranked in your top 10. If he beats that guy, it's only common sense for me if I was a voter to put him in there. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so
let's not let that just float away. Damn good question. Damn good assessment, that coach. You know what I'm saying? And trying to knot this up. You know, you're trying to tie the knot, man. It just come undone when every time Dougie answer the question, man. You know what I'm saying? God damn. Hold on for a second. I want to about this second. Hold on for a split second. And like it was put in the chat, man, if you haven't checked the live out, go in there and check the live out. True Media Today, USA Boxing, man. Check out Coach Live, man. You know what I'm saying? Fire Live. So as I'm looking at the ring, pound for pound, just like Coach mentioned at the early stage of his live stream, the only names that I want to worry about is the ones to 6 through 10. Okay, 6 through 10. So hold up for a second. 6 to 10. Okay, this is the ring pound for pound rankings, right? So like I said, I'm only concerned about 6 through 10 because the names that we're talking about, I don't think they're breached past 5. You're not going past Canelo, right? And Canelo is there because he lost to Bivol, who sits at number 6. Okay, so number 7 is Lomachenko. Let's get that clear. This guy right here. If I was being an asshole and somebody else was doing this live, I would say, you know what? it's pointless for us to go any further after identifying the unanswered question as to why Lomachenko. That was the most important one right there. Why is Lomachenko here? Why is he here? Real talk. I can understand Josh Taylor holding down Resident on the pound for pound, who sits over here at number 8. Why? Because he vacated his belts. He vacated, y'all. You got to get some FICO for that, right? He vacated. He held on to one of them. He got off those sanctioning fees. He vacated. Right? We can't touch Bivol. We can't touch Bivol because when Bivol defeated Canelo Alvarez, Canelo was number 1 on the pound for pound list. We can't touch him. But we can absolutely adjust. We're talking about Dougie Fischer saying we have to sit up here and talk about if we want to push Shakur Stevenson up, that we got to move Devin off. How? First of all, Loma shouldn't be up there. Loma shouldn't be up there. This should be 9 already. So if you really wanted to put Devin on the pound for pound list right now, he should be on the pound for pound list based off the belts that he has. So now it gets interesting on if you want to put Shakur Stevenson up there. Well, he hasn't had a big fight at 135 pound division. Yeah, he did come off beating Oscar Valdez and Jamel Herring, 2 contenders who were champion, who was defending their titles. Absolutely. So now it gets a lot more technical at the end of the day because Devin won belts in 1 division. He beat Kambosos, who beat Tio. But yet, Kambosos get very minimal, diminished credit because of Tio's medical condition that night. Seriously, they didn't do it to him initially, but real truth be told, they look at Kambosos as being a guy who was coming off 2 split decisions, wins, and then he went in there with the unhealthy Teofimo Lopez and got the victory. Then, to add on, the way Dougie Fischer looks at it is that he needs to go back and to the resumes of the opponents and their opponents. You know what I'm saying? Let's go all the way back to the opponents, If we do that, Lomachenko shouldn't be on that. Lomachenko shouldn't be on this list. Devin, he fought Kambosos, man. He fought Kambosos. How many losses did Kambosos have? If Kambosos didn't have any losses and Devin went in there and beat him for the first time, right? And picked up the titles and defended, isn't that a much more exemplary feat to put you on the pound for pound list than Lomachenko fighting Masahiro Nakatani or Richard Comey? Look at that. Jermell Charlo, man. He's legitimate, undisputed champion. You know what I'm saying? Dougie Fischer didn't subtract points for Charlo going the distance in a draw and trying to pick up that WBO title. But yet, if he was going to subtract points, he would have had to add points when he went into the rematch and stopped him. If he's going to, based off his metric.
What is the importance of even, so basically what you're telling me with this pound for pound, there's a lot of many different variant factors going to this. It's not necessarily it's who you fight, what's the level of competition. But then again, it's not necessarily that because you could be fighting tomato cans, but if you're winning in dominant fashion, that could be a factor how you get on the list. So basically,
he said, yeah. Coach said you could be fighting tomato cans and get on the list. Yeah.
There's really no a boxing criteria. The criteria there's no boxing criteria or set criteria. So it's just based on how you feel, if you like the fighter or not, who you like more, and
whoever you're feeling, that's the problem with the pound for pound. I don't know why people get so worked up over it. I put more creed in the divisional rankings, to be quite honest, and just just so you know, I normally sit out the pound for pound discussion. That's how it was with the Tyson fight. That's how it was with De La Hoya. That's how it was with Mayweather. That's how even Pacquiao. That's how it was everybody.
So,
fever, you know what I mean?
So what fighter, this is my last question. I'm going to let you go because I know you have to go. And I really thank you so much, Doug, for this. This is
no problem.
What fighter today would you say resembles the closest thing to what Mike Tyson has done, Oscar, Floyd, Manny Pacquiao? What fighter would you say closely resembles that today as face of boxing?
As being a face of boxing?
I'm just saying the closest. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying the closest. Who would closely resemble that? If you was to, I'm just asking, like who, or would you say no? Or would you say nobody? Nobody. Yeah.
Nobody. Nobody's doing it like those guys. They don't fight enough. I think you got guys who really want to be the best, and they're going out there to do it. Young men like Devin Haney who want to be undisputed, and I think we don't have a face of boxing right now. We don't have. I mean, Canelo probably comes the closest in terms of like the box office.
No. You say we don't have a face of boxing right now. I was waiting for him to clear that up. Right? So he attempted to clear it up and say Canelo would be the closest to the face of boxing. So you tell me, listeners, if by chance that no one's the face of boxing, and it's just going to go off terminology, it's just going to go off a statement someone made. If you're the face of boxing, right? How much influence does that have? And you being ranked on the pound for pound list? Because if I'm the face of boxing, shouldn't I be number one on the pound for pound list? How does it make sense to be the face of boxing and you're sitting at number 5 on the pound for pound list? What dictates the face of boxing? What is the criteria? What is the values that you're given? Just like Coach said, what is the variance? There's many variables that goes into this. If you're the face of boxing, shouldn't you be number 1 pound for pound? Truth be told, right? Don't that make sense? Like, if I'm the face of the sport, we're talking about the sport. You're telling me I'm the face. I'm making the money. I'm the creme de la creme. But on the pound for pound list, when it comes to the ring, I'm sitting at number 5. I'm number 6. How can I be the face of boxing, but yet I'm so low on the pound for pound list? How can I be the face if I'm not the best? How?
Right. And, the money he generates for himself and everybody around him, he's probably the closest. But he really didn't cross over. I mean, he crossed over to an extent, but he didn't cross over. He's not like, he's not Julio Cesar Chavez level as far as crossing over. You know what I mean? What about Cesar Chavez fight in Vegas was insane. It became Mexico.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What about Gervonta Davis?
I think Davis is on his way. He has the potential to be the face of boxing in America. I think he can be the U.S. Deontay Wilder's still around. And Deontay Wilder is still up there, but
that's why I kind of stopped it when he, I kind of kept it going. I had to revisit this when I was extracting the audio because he brings up Deontay Wilder, which is hilarious because when Deontay Wilder was undefeated, when he was on 10 successful title defenses, he had been reigning for over 5 years. I could have sworn on a goddamn sprinkled donut in the hand of a fat kid that I never seen Deontay on this list. Have y'all ever seen Deontay on this list? So you're trying to compare, when asked about Tank, you're trying to compare him to another brother that hasn't been on the pound for pound list? When have Deontay Wilder been on the pound for pound list? And he's a dynamic fighter. So if Deontay was the dynamic fighter, why didn't this criteria or this formula that you got benefit Deontay to get on here? But yet Tank, You say he's a dynamic fighter, which that dynamic will bleed over to Deontay Wilder too, because he's a dynamic finisher. Both of these guys holds the most power, you know what I'm saying, for having and possessing the equalizer, you know, for finishing fighters. So if it benefits Gervonta for being on the pound for pound list based off what he's done, and he's a dynamic, he's an entertainer and everything else, I just had to propose that question. Like, I never seen Deontay Wilder even come into your conversation. Nobody over there ring. But let Fury beat him. Fury goes on what, Dougie? You was there for that, right? Ask Dougie about that, coach. When Fury beat this guy that he just mentioned, Deontay Wilder, ask Dougie what happened to Fury when he beat a guy who never been on the pound for pound list, since he goes back from opponent and what they fought and who they fought, right? If Deontay Wilder never made it on the pound for pound list, why did Fury become a co-op on the Ring magazine, right? Wasn't the Ring mag for Fight of the Year? How can he get Fight of the Year and Deontay never got any accolades on Ring? I don't know, bro.
Davis has youth on his side. Mm-hmm. I think Davis and listen, Garcia, even though Garcia lost that fight, I don't know if Tank Davis does 1 million plus pay-per-view buys fighting anybody else. If now, coach, if he can have a rematch with Isaac Cruz. I
can't do this. I can't do this. I don't want any of my listeners to go to the doctor and act like it was them. No, it's not you. It's not you. Because he just said that Tank can't do 1 million pay-per-views with no other fighter. And I told you all the other day that Teofimo Lopez and Gervonta Davis breaks these numbers that Ryan Garcia did. They break them. Period. It is fighters out there that can possibly break these numbers. I mean, it's not unbreakable. Let's not get back. Let's not revisit the conundrum as if things are just impossible and can't be accomplished. We was just proven that it's possible in an era where piracy exists in a huge volume, that you have a superstar that can fight a contender, so to speak, and break the bank. So what he's saying doesn't make any sense to me. And I know you weren't trying to insinuate that Ryan Garcia can be the face of boxing. I know you weren't trying to insinuate that. But you were implying that Tank cannot do. You're just speaking about what, 135? You're trying to say he cannot do, because Ryan Garcia, truth be told, he's not a 35er. Ryan Garcia is 140 pounder. Okay, he made it perfectly clear he's going to be fighting 140. So what weight class were you talking about when you said Tank can't do, probably never do a million pay-per-view buys again? And then to say that he should fight Isaac Cruz. When they asked him post-fight, did Isaac Cruz get a rematch? He said, hell no. Why would you give a rematch to Isaac Cruz at this point when you're so high on the summit of coming off 1 million pay-per-views? Why would you give Isaac Cruz a rematch right now? Unless you just want to, calm it down a little bit. Wouldn't you take advantage of the momentum and fight another big name while the grease is hot? I would. You go out here, collect another Brinks truck, collect another Brinks truck. Then you take the Isaac Cruz soft touch. You know what I'm saying? Because he gonna beat Isaac Cruz ass the rematch. You don't give somebody like Tank Davis the amount of time he has in between fights to study Isaac Cruz and familiar with his one-dimensional style and believe that he's gonna go back in there and have the same success that he had in the first one. Isaac Cruz can't believe that. And he's being super nice to Gervonta. He's being super nice, bro. But yeah, that pound for pound list right there, it's a slap in the face, man. It's a slap in the face. I ain't gonna lie to you. People talk about nepotism when it comes to family showing favoritism. Dude, somebody has a family member. Lomachenko has a family member over there on that pound for pound with Ring Magazine, for real. I'm just saying, like, that is just crazy right there. Like, man, but shout out to a very thorough interview, man. You know what I'm saying? Superb educational interview with Dougie Fischer. You know, like I said before, man, I'm not up here to feel no type of way about it. All I was doing is just I listened and then I gave my reaction on it. Coach did an outstanding job for this interview. You know, taking notes, proposing the right questions. He's level changed above a lot of channels on this YTC. I'm not in competition. I have no problem sitting back and listening and getting the knowledge, and I'm gonna give my take and my reaction on it. But if y'all out there that don't know who the channel is, go over there and sub to the channel. Very organized, very structured, punctual, punctual on time. And he's knowledgeable, very knowledgeable about his presence over here as a content. I don't even know to call him a content creator. You know what I'm saying? I would say boxing media, combat sports media, whatever. But I would definitely pay attention because, people talk about all these other channels and how big they are and all that. Okay, sure enough. Okay. But they're not doing what Coach doing right now. It's a difference between, having somebody on with Dougie at the right time to speak on a situation that is immersed in controversy right now. It is. The controversy is Tank Davis being on the pound for pound and not Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? That's the controversy right now. And the controversy still sits out there because nothing was cleared up as to why Haney is not on the pound for pound list. It's really deep down. Those other members of the board don't like Haney for what he said, and they're going to blacklist him. They can feel some type of way about how Tank and what he's been doing outside the ropes, but they enjoy what he does inside the ropes. Or maybe they just saying, you know what? Y'all in the same division. We're going to put Javante up there, a person that has a belt that we don't even, Dougie said they don't even consider illegitimate titles. They don't even take that in consideration. But Tank has a secondary title. So it's a lot of contradiction that's going on here. I think they could be using, two fighters against one another. Seriously. I mean, hasn't Team Haney been going at Javante? Hasn't been words exchanged between both camps? Yes. Doesn't this seem kind of odd that they'll throw Javante on the pound for pound list and not Devin? And even to slap Devin even harder, they put his opponent on the pound for pound list and he don't even have a single belt. If that ain't a slap in the face to tell you that somebody on the Ring Mag don't like you and they showing you how much power they got, all you got to do is pull it up and look at the ring pound for pound and they slapping you all over the place, Devin. This is purposely done. They put your divisional compeer up there before you. You went to Australia for 2 fights, won both, and now you're fighting Lomachenko, who has no belts, coming off Nakatani and Comey. And they put him on the pound for pound list to say, yeah, if Devin beat Lomachenko, now you have a free pathway to the pound for pound list. But any smart person would say, well, not exactly. They still going to frown upon you getting on the pound for pound list because Lomachenko never should have been there. But great live earlier, man. Y'all be sure to check that out. You know what I'm saying? Coach, you still on here? Drop that link to your live stream so whoever chooses to check it out, check it out, man. Very good live. You know, just do your own interpretation, dissect it. You know, take the bits and pieces that educate you. You know, not criticism, even when it's controversy, that educates you because it teaches you right from wrong, what's right and what's wrong in boxing. Not everything about the interview is bad. You get some education from it, from the questions, from the answers. You know what I'm saying? The answers may not have been on par with what reality is, but still you get to find out the reason why it doesn't add up. You have to do your own self-comparisons to the depth of knowledge that you have based off the criteria that's out there in boxing. You say, okay, Dougie said this about that. Let me go over here and put these pieces together. It's deductive reasoning. You know what I'm saying? You get all the evidence together. You formulate a freaking result, and you try to put all the evidence together to get that result from the formula that you use. If it brings you to where you want to be, that means it was success. If not, you got to go back in there and troubleshoot it again. This is why Tank will not fight the champions. They reward him for avoiding the top guys in the division. Hey, Larry, I don't think he's avoiding anybody. The man is making money. The man just became a part of history. I mean, what you act like, look, and this is, I'm just talking, bro. You act like he's not the dangerous man, you know, one of the dangerous fighters in the lightweight division, if not the most dangerous in the lightweight division. So wouldn't ducking have to have some type of, like, what is the reason behind him ducking? Is it that you feel just because Devin has all the belts, he's more dangerous? Because it's like Dougie Fischer says, two dynamics going. Devin Haney proved that, you know, he can beat Kambosos and pick up the titles, right? Right? Check this out, Larry. He proved that he can go over there and beat Kambosos, who beat Teofimo. But as Coach said on his live, I can fight 25 tomato cans and still, exactly. I'm not saying Kambosos was a tomato can, but Kambosos beat Teo. So he got the belts. It's almost like he's saying Devin ain't is not entertaining, but he beat Kambosos, who beat Teo. If we want to say Kambosos tomato can, well, Coach just say I can beat 25 tomato cans and you give me credit, right? Yeah. So if you're gonna say Kambosos tomato, why ain't Devin getting credit? And then people come over here to Tank and you say he's ducking all the other champions. What does he has to duck if he's going up here on pay-per-view making money without the titles that Devin has? You have two split dynamics going on. Boxing is a business. People talk about prize fighting, right? What do you think Tank is doing? He is competing for the prize. Man, y'all are stuck on this duck and everything. I know I've used it, but in this situation, this conversation, it doesn't even make any sense to say we reward. If we compliment a fighter on here, it means nothing. It's just basically whoever chooses to take it, digest it, and say, okay, so and so is complimenting a fighter on something that you disagree with. It's not like it has to go up the chain of command, bro. That's like saying Tank hasn't reached Mayweather level yet. Only one guy ever born has reached that level. Can't put a not even in front of that. Oh my God, man. Like saying Zion Williams has not even reached Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's level yet. Doug basically said they already have enough black fighters on the list. Shakur, Haney, and Tank compete for 10, while have Loma beltless with 2 L's. Pretty much, man. I don't know if that's the mindset they got, but you know, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence has been on there forever. For a long time, they resided as the only 2 black fighters on the pound for pound list, Mitch. Out of 10. Out of 10. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence for a long time was the only 2 black fighters on the list. And then all of a sudden you get Jamel Charlo. You know what I'm saying? And then now they put Gervonta Davis on there. But still, it's a total amount of 10. But the confusion is not with any other fighter except the black fighters. It don't make any sense, man. After hearing these answers by Dougie, you know, Devin should look at it like it shouldn't be no confusion. He should just understand that they don't like him. Period. You pissed them off, and now they slapping you in the face with it. You know what I'm saying? They're scoffing at you even attempting to try to dictate what they have going on. Like to say, you don't appreciate having a belt. It means nothing to you. They put your opponent on the pound for pound list. Devin, pretty much what they're saying is if Lomachenko beats you, you know what they're going to do, Devin? They're going to move Lomachenko up the damn pound for pound list over there just to spite you. Being that they was unwilling to give you credit to put you on the pound for pound list before. If Lomachenko beats you, Devin, they're going to move him a little bit higher, probably in front of Dimitri Bivol. Might even put him in front of Canelo Alvarez at number 5. I mean, put him in Canelo Alvarez's place at number 5. But what I'm trying to tell you is that they saying is your value is low and they don't respect you enough. But then if Lomachenko wins, they're going to move him higher on the pound for pound list just to damn rub it in your face even more. Mark my word, man. Mark my word. They've been waiting forever to get Lomachenko back up there with belts. Shout out to my guy Shaw News and Sauce Experience, aka Showtime Shaw, was in the building. But this Friday, y'all, I gotta bounce. It's been great. Once again, superb live stream from Coach Malachi. Superb. Great work. Great questions. The order for which they was presented and proposed to your guests. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dougie Fischer. You know what I'm saying? I talked to him one time, you know, where he was at a fight. You know, good guy. Had no problem with him, man. I was just breaking down some of the stuff that didn't make no sense to me. It didn't, and, you know, a lot of stuff didn't make no sense. In that case, it's almost like what I say a lot of times about the inflation of boxing. The sport has very minimal prerequisites for somebody to get off the couch and come into the ring. So therefore, what Coach was saying about 25 tomato cans, you know, look, truth be told, I'm looking at what Dougie said. That's reality. He agreed to the reality of boxing. But his reality in saying, yeah, exactly, you can fight 25 tomato cans, it doesn't add up to a fighter gaining any type of momentum to be put in the rankings. We know damn well if you fight 25 tomato cans, you're not making it on the pound for pound list. Come on, man. Why say exactly? And you know that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. You come in here and you have you have a list of gardeners with losing records on your joint, looking like Reggie Strickland, and you come up here talking about, hey man, I submitted a formal letter to the Ring magazine why I ain't on the pound for pound list. Man, I got 200 fights. Why I can't be on the pound for pound list? Why? Who name somebody else that got more fights than me in this era? I got 299,000 fights. It don't matter how many losses I got. It's the fact that I stepped in the ring and got those losses. Why you ain't got me on the pound for pound list? But man, y'all, hey, shout out to y'all, man. Enjoy your weekend. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy your weekend. It was a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Y'all continue to do what you do. Thank you for supporting the channel. Big shout out to the those who pulled up today. You know, hit the like button on your way out. I truly appreciate it. Hold on for a second. As much as I want to speak on the Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, the only reason I'm not revisiting it right now because I want to do more research on it and come back on at a later date and talk about that situation. But truth be told, y'all be careful out there, man. Being that this news is broke, y'all be careful. Real talk, especially my listeners. Y'all be careful because, you know, y'all might be out with your families, man. And you got aerosexuals in the car next to you in the other lane, and they are irate. They upset, miserable, frustrated, drunk. Be careful out there, man. Be careful. Till next time, man.